Franchise Sports Media!
What's going on, fight fans? Thank you guys for tuning in to a special edition of the main event right here on Franchise Sports Media. It's your host, Klein Lua, with a special guest as promised. The man, the myth, the legend, Samoan Raider. TJ is in the house, my man.
What's good? I appreciate you having me on, News. I'm excited for it. And you already know. Yeet.
Yeah, you already know. It's Yeet and you gotta acknowledge the tree. We gonna get to all that right here. This is a special WrestleMania 41 happening in our backyard at Allegiant Stadium, Las Vegas. It's finally happening since WrestleMania 9. TJ, real quick, man, just what are your thoughts? It's been so long. We finally got a stadium, and now WrestleMania is here. Just what's your thoughts of it finally being in our city?
Man, I'm excited about it, man. I remember they were kind of talking about it last year, about where it was going to be, and I felt like, man, I think Vegas needs to run it back, you know, kind of make up for it for the last one that we had over here.
Yeah, exactly.
At Caesars. But I really, really am excited that, you know, Vegas is not only just getting the Super Bowl and the draft, but we're getting WrestleMania as well. So just for it to be in our backyard, I think it's going to be really, really fun. And we're going to be there. You know what I mean? We'll be all over the place.
It is going to be live and awesome. You guys be sure to tune into social media on us because we are going to be in the house. You mean to tell me you didn't enjoy WrestleMania 9 with Giant Gonzalez and his man suit on with the fur coming out? I thought it was one of the greatest of all time.
That's the only match I remember from that WrestleMania, to be honest.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it was one of the worst matches. But you know what? In some ways, it's like one of those horrible movies. It's so bad, it's kind of good. But it is going down. WrestleMania 41, like you said, Las Vegas has become a hub now for all the major sports. We're getting so many activities here. It's only a matter of time before WrestleMania came here. Now that it's here, before we jump into the card, I want to ask you this. What has been your thoughts of the buildup for it? We know WrestleMania season starts around Royal Rumble. Yeah. Going into it, what have you thought about the buildup leading into the granddaddy of them all?
I don't know, man. Like that's one of the things that I would say that I would kind of critique a little bit. It's not as hyped as it was last year. I think last year's buildup was way better, and especially with The Rock and Roman, with Cody Rhodes trying to finish the story. I think having The Rock be a part of it was kind of big. And I know this year, I'm not saying that it's bad, but I think if you compare the two, I don't think it's as hyped as last year's. I think it could be better. I really wanted to see Rock Roman. That's what I wanted to see. I thought that would have been perfect over here in the Ninth Island, but
yes,
I guess we're going to have to wait a little bit and see how everything plays out. But for the most part, I talked to somebody and I was like, you know, the buildup is not there, but maybe, you know, and I've heard like sales haven't been like that high either. So maybe it's one of those WrestleManias where not a lot of people are expecting anything huge, but maybe it'll like surpass all our expectations.
Maybe the lead into it isn't as what it could have been, but the execution is way better.
I'm hoping so, yeah.
And that's the plan. You know, you figure, okay, in the world of professional wrestling, you plan all year for this. This the big stage. It's sometimes injuries, other things come up. Once I started hearing rumors about The Rock possibly going to the MCU, I say, damn it, WrestleMania is off the table. Maybe he makes a surprise appearance. Who knows? You brought up the sales not being good, and it's like, yeah, well, when you look at it, on top of flights, hotels, ticket prices, everything else outside in the regular world being so expensive, it's almost like WWE and TKO shot themselves in the foot. What seemed like to outprice so many fans going into it. Maybe it's a lesson learned though. Yeah, maybe it's a lesson learned, and going forward, we'll be able to see different sales as far as the prices go. But other than that, they got a lot of things going on out here. There's an Undertaker one-man show. There's a ropes going on. There's NXT Live. There's all the autograph signings. There's other independent things going on. Yeah. The energy next week out here is going to be phenomenal. And I want to ask you this before we jump into the card. If you obviously very connected as well. You sit at the table with all the people of the bloodline. If you get a chance, like what is something you're most looking forward to outside of Allegiant Stadium, the WrestleMania card itself? What's an event that you're looking forward to out here?
Man, I know WWE World is gonna be pretty huge. That's something I'm looking forward to for sure. Other than that, Wally Mania. This actually been my first year going to Wally Mania.
Really?
Yeah. And I know some of my Usos are going to be over here. Zilla's going to be there, and some other wrestlers. But this is going to be the first time. And Netflix is also hosting it too. So I think that outside of everything else, I guess is Wale Mania, because that's the only other event I kind of got locked in right now. Everything else is kind of like on the table right now. So
it's an option, but that one is locked in.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that one. You've seen it in the years past, and you're like, man, whenever it comes to a city, either nearby or in our backyard, got to go to it. And now that it's here, it's a must-see going forward. Let's just get right into it. WrestleMania 41. Let's dive into the card itself. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, as of now, titles on the line.
Oh, yeah.
We got 6 titles on the line. We got triple threat matches. We got a legendary run trying to happen. We got records trying to be broken. It is going to be phenomenal. Night 1 is going to be headline triple threat match. Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, CM Punk, finally main eventing WrestleMania.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this triple threat match between 3 of the biggest names in the sport?
Man, first of all, CM Punk got to thank the tribal chief for that, but I think that one's gonna be really fun to watch though. I think it was, like I said, it wasn't a match that I really wanted to happen. I feel like it could have happened anywhere, but at WrestleMania, I know those are 3 big names with I think could main event any WrestleMania, past or present.
Yes, very much so.
Just me like being a little biased towards Rock and Roman. That's what I wanted, but I guess this is a good
substitution for it.
So I'm excited to see it, and you see the back and forth and all the promos between all 3 of them. And then now adding to that, Paul Heyman possibly, joining CM Punk at WrestleMania too. I think that's gonna be crazy on top of that as well. So to see how that whole thing happens, and I seen a clip of Roman Reigns, I think it was last year, and he talked about Paul Heyman, and you remember he said that without his wise man, or the day he doesn't have his wise man, is the last day you'll see the tribal chief. So maybe we'll see the last of the tribal chief. We'll see something new. Maybe the big dog returns. I don't know. Well, I don't know, but it's good.
If Roman busts out the vest,
that's crazy.
And the old school theme song coming out as the big dog, that would be something. But you're right. The layers in which this match has had, with Paul Heyman being the centerpiece now, with this past Money on Raw, you got Seth Rollins not curb stomping him, saying, now you owe me a favor.
I seen that, yeah.
You got Punk wanting him in his corner, his best friend. Heyman saying, I'm not going to betray Punk or Roman. Roman's, like you said, hey, if I don't have the wise man, you won't see me anymore.
Yeah.
I feel like this was put together because, one, possibly Rock and Roman was on the table. Rock has some other things to do and whatnot. He's got to go continue to conquer Hollywood. So now you're throwing this together, but I'm with you. This could have main evented any card. Hell, it could main event WrestleMania night 2. But I'm very interested to see how they go about this and the story that they tell within this matchup. Yeah. One thing I want to shoot past you and your thoughts on it. I think it's inevitable that the wise man goes with somebody, whether it's somebody in this particular match,
go ahead.
or somebody else that's also at WrestleMania, but not there yet. I think Paul Heyman has something up his sleeve.
I think I've seen a lot of things too, where the whole back and forth with Roman and CM Punk, right, with the wise man, or with CM Punk's right hand man. But what if there's a possibility where he screws them both over and he goes with Seth? I've seen that before. So that would be a whole turn of and maybe, I don't know if that's something that you build up towards, or that's something that'll catch everybody by surprise. Kind of like, you remember when Stone Cold turned on The Rock with Vince?
And he shook Vince's hand? Oh, oh man, that one still burns. That one still burns. And it is something when you say, okay, clearly Paul Heyman has shown about 9 out of 10 times, if he's in someone's corner, they got the rocket ship on him, they're going to the top.
Yeah.
Seth is already up there. He's already a mainstay in the main event picture. But now to say, hey, I need someone like Paul Heyman in my corner, just give me that little bit of edge to go forward, that would be something. What I'll be curious to see, because we do know after WrestleMania, there's a bit of a low period, so to speak. What if during that period, Roman and Punk have a little feud amongst each other? Punk and Roman, Heyman's in the middle. He sees, hey, Punk is my best friend, but I don't know if he could beat Roman Reigns. I might need to go get a younger, bigger dog. Little foreshadowing there to come in. And once he comes in, once he speared Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble, I jumped out of my seat. I don't know about you. I jumped out of my seat. Said, what the hell's going on? But maybe that was a little foreshadowing, a little drop in the ocean to say, this is what we can see in the future.
It could be.
It could be. It could be. I would love to see one day Paul Heyman have Braun Breaker in his corner. That's the foreshadow. I'd love to see Braun Breaker Sunday become a Paul Heyman guy. But nonetheless, he's killing it by himself anyways. Your boy, let's just get to it right now since it's the big picture and you got the shirt on. The Ring General, Gunther, will be putting his title on the line against the man he is 4-0 against, Jay Uso. Yeet. What do you think about Yeet Mania? Does Jay finish the story?
I think so. And I think a lot of people don't want to see it because I guess they already see it coming. Mm-hmm. And I feel like it should feel more like a Kofi Mania or like, Daniel Bryan winning. But I think after Royal Rumble, I was excited about it. But I guess the whole build up towards it hasn't been really strong. Mm-hmm. Up until late, I think with Jimmy adding into it with everything and, Gunther like whooping his ass in the ring. I think that kind of adds some more layers to it though. Mm-hmm. But I think there's only one way to come out of it is Jay winning. But then I know the other side people are saying like, man, Gunther can't lose, man. Yeah. You can't just. That's gonna be 2 straight WrestleManias where he loses the big belt.
It would be that, and that would be a stain on his resume. One thing I think killed the momentum of this build up for this match was they had these two face off on Saturday Night Main Event. Mm-hmm. And it was right before the Royal Rumble. Yeah. And I feel like with all the build up and everything for that particular event, well, now once Jay wins the Royal Rumble, well, now we know what we're trying to do afterwards. Yeah. But in the meantime, if they don't do that and then he wins the Royal Rumble, then he becomes, hey, wait a minute now, maybe Jay could do this. So like you said, maybe it's a bit foreshadowing. The other part I think is it's too far out. There's too much time between when the Rumble ended and WrestleMania started. To where, like you said, everyone's just picking apart every little thing. So now you're just like, we already know what's going to happen, as opposed to, hey, it's a couple of weeks. This is who we need to see win the main event title. This is who we want to see as the main guy, as the champion right now. So, I don't know if it was just bad timing or if they just did the Saturday Night Main too early, but I would love to see in Allegiant Stadium, Jay Uso coming through the crowd with everybody doing
I think it's bound to happen.
That gets me going. I don't know about you, but it gets me going when I'm at the house and I see the crowd doing the whole thing. I'm like, yo, and then the thing, I'm going to be in that crowd pretty soon doing it. That's going to be pretty awesome. Sticking within the same bloodline, so to speak, there's another one going for a title. You got the werewolf, the Samoan werewolf, Jacob Fatu. Y'all know what I mean? Yes, taking on the one and only L.A. Knight. For the U.S. Championship. What are your thoughts on that particular matchup?
Man, I'm excited for that one too, because just to see Jacob like a whole year later from last year not being at WWE to now being in a match, let alone a championship match, I think that WWE kind of sees the potential with them. Of course, the crowd is behind him as well.
Very much so.
You might as well throw the rocket ship behind him. I think he's going to come out on top with that one. I think we've seen LA Knight win it a couple of times already. He's already had his shine, and Jacob right now. And then, or maybe he doesn't. And maybe Solo kind of interferes with that, and then you build that whole rivalry up between those two. Because I think that's something to kind of look out for in the future.
They definitely have that tension between them two going back and forth. So they're definitely teasing that at some point these two got to clash, whether it comes to a head at WrestleMania, like you said, or if it happens later on afterwards, especially if Jacob does win. Hey, that title needs Mr. Boss Man.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one.
What I enjoy so much, and like you said, Jacob's gone from not even being on the roster this time last year. Yeah. So now he's in a high-key profile matchup. The fact that he comes in, and you've seen this as well. Sometimes when new wrestlers show up to WWE, it takes them a while to find their footing. Yeah. Maybe they stumble. He hit a home run right away. The hype up that they were telling all about him, the fear that opponents were showing towards him, and he's backed up with his actions ever since. To me, I felt like when he had his first solo match, one Solo Sikoa left, and he did that backstage promo, walking there with that got people going to him, say, oh, he can also talk as well? So to me, he's one of those, like you said, put a rocket ship on him, send him to the moon, he's going to dominate up there. I look forward to this. I want to ask you this one, because we have a lot of singles matches here. Yeah. How do you feel about singles matches at WrestleMania? Do you think maybe they should have a stipulation for some, or do you enjoy just one-on-one, let's see who the better wrestler is?
No. It depends on the storyline. I think it goes off of that. You could either make the most out of the situation by what type of match you pair it up with. Because I think last year with the Usos facing each other should have been like a street fight. Yeah. Because, that's brothers. And then you add more to it where they could use weapons and stuff. I mean, I don't know how true it was, because I know Jay kind of like doubled down on it and said that their time got cut short. But I think at the end of the day, it still should have been some stipulation to it, because, they supposedly hated each other.
Of course.
But I think only certain matches depend. Like only certain matches, would need it. Not every match. There's some matches that could go one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
You look at, this one with, I think Jacob in LA would be a good one-on-one. You look at, I think is Cargill and Naomi.
Yeah.
That one's got to have a stipulation to it. There's a stipulation or no? I didn't really.
From everything from what I've seen, I didn't see any stipulation mentioned about it yet. Now we still do have a little bit of time before it happens, so maybe something is announced. Yeah. But I hadn't seen it. One thing I always felt was if there's no title on the line, then it should be a stipulation. Not too many times do I want to see a one-on-one matchup with no title on the line, unless it's the Undertaker Street match.
Yeah.
And that's all, and that's far gone. If it's not that one, me personally, I always felt, one-on-one is cool, but give me a reason to be invested in this. Yeah. And guess, like you said, you got a whole stadium to explore different possibilities here. Yeah. Try different stuff. Add a little dimensions to it. That way, either if it's cut short, we can have a reason for why it's cut short without us knowing at the time is that, hey, I just put him through 3 tables. He's out, or whatever the case may be. So I look forward to seeing how these matches play out and if there are any stipulations added to it. You brought it up, so let's dive into it. Jade Cargill returned and wants her revenge on Naomi. Naomi now has turned a new leaf, shown that, hey, I could be a badass heel out here. I'm loving the new attitude from her. What are your thoughts on this matchup?
Man, I think just after Naomi's first promo after the whole thing, with the whole caution shape and everything. Yeah. I love it because it adds a different layer to her character as well. Other than, feeling the glow. And right now it seems like she doesn't feel the glow. So it's good to see that, her and Jade is going to be going one-on-one. Yeah. And funny enough, because I talked to Jade last year at Mania and asked her who her dream opponent was. And it was like Naomi. So it's crazy to see a whole year later. It's them two. But she's already admitted to it was her, right, Naomi? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. Now, she admitted to it. And I don't know, the execution of it, I would say this, it was a bit of a shocker to a degree, but the execution of it, while not perfect, I've liked that they've kind of picked up the pieces and they ran with it fairly well. You had to talk to Jade Cargill last year? She asked about me?
I think she did, but I didn't hear it.
Oh, you know what? It's last year. You might have forgot, but hey, Jade, how you doing? All right, but this is one where I think because of how it was set up, it should be like a street fight. Should be a false count anywhere or something like that. Since you attacked me backstage, it should be something that adds a little bit more to it and gives them both a chance to show that other edge to them that we've seen bits and parts of. So I'm excited to see the powerhouse in Jade Cargill taking off the athleticism and the toughness of Naomi. Yeah. I'm very excited to see how these two ladies go out there and do it. And without a title on the line, they get to be 2 females going at it on the big stage without a title on the line. That is progress right there. That's pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah. And Naomi has a good reason for it too. Like everything she explained, it just goes and like coincides with what the fans thought too. Her coming in, kind of taking her shine away with Bianca. So I want to see how that pans out. That's gonna be one to.
It was interesting how they took these two away from Bianca Belair. She's going after the title because you're right. That did seem to play a part into it, but it seemed to also say, hey, Bianca, right now, you need to go do your thing. Maybe we'll circle back around to it later on because you're right. It did turn around. Hey, wait a minute. First it was me and you. Then she came in. What's going on here? Now I'm back in the picture. We'll see if they circle back around to it. I think there's more to this story even past WrestleMania 41. We got a Lucha Libre matchup going on between 2 of the greatest Lucha Libres of all time. The legend, the Hall of Famer, Rey Mysterio. We've been watching him since the 90s. That's not a knock on his age. It's just the honest truth. Bash at the Beach in 96. First time I saw Rey Mysterio taking on Americano. I won't even say who it is on me because we don't know. He wears the mask, so we don't know who it is. We just know he's one of the greatest American Lucha Libres of all time. What are your thoughts on this matchup?
Well, first and foremost, man, it just kind of sucks that, you look at the whole card, man. We don't get no Chad Gable, though, but...
It does suck.
You know what? I'm just happy that we got somebody representing America.
America, baby. That's right.
But this is one that I think not a lot of people are, like, talking about, but it could be one of those that kind of surprises a lot of people. Especially you got 2 luchadors that could go hand in hand in the ring.
Very much so. Very much. I mean, we've seen how good Chad Gable has been in the past when he was wrestling in Lucha Libres. Now you're throwing in the Americano. He's taking on Lucha Libres with a very similar style. I look forward to seeing how it goes down between this. See, this would be another one. It should be like mass versus career.
Oh yeah.
You know, like Ray, look, we love you, and you could still be out there and still go. But at some point, you got to think, hey, buddy, either the man's got to go or you're done wrestling for right now.
I think that would be perfect because then we could finally see if Ray wins, who the other luchador is.
It would be nice to finally figure out who it is, right? Because every time we see him, Chad's got to obviously handle business in the back.
Yeah.
Then when we see Chad, well, he's clearly got to go recuperate from the match he just had. I would love to see who this is, and if one day him and Chad Gable could go at it with each other, I think that'd be a fantastic matchup in itself. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of, you remember the WCW days with the Cruiserweight division when Dean Malenko would be taking on Rey Mysterio, Psychosis, Eddie Guerrero, La Parka, all that. The mat wrestler countering the high flying motion.
Yeah.
I mean, when the chemistry is right, we're going to get ourselves a nice martini right here. It's going to be a lot of fun between these two. Real quick, speaking on these one, we've seen the high flyers in the WWE go at it. Dragon Lee is there now. We got Penta. We got Ray Phoenix. Tell me, what's been your thoughts on now we're seeing more and more Lucha Libre styles coming into the world of WWE, where for a long time it seemed like WWE didn't want that. Yeah. Now they're embracing it. What's your thoughts on it?
I like it, though. I think it's cool. Not only, and it all started with Penta, because I think I didn't know anything about Penta.
Really?
Before, I mean, I knew he was at AEW. I've seen him here and there, but I never really knew who he was. But I think the way that WWE is presenting these new faces, at least to the WWE crowd, and making them seem like a big deal, I think is huge. Because like you said, like I think the old WWE wouldn't really care too much. We would see a whole group of Sin Caras. Well, they'll hype them up, but once they come in, it's not. They turn into gags or whatnot.
Exactly.
But to see how much and how consistent they've been with, Penta, and now seeing what they'll do with Ray Phoenix, it makes it even more of a big deal for us to, like, okay, who's these guys? No, I had to go look up like Ray Phoenix, not Ray Phoenix. Well, Ray Phoenix and Penta, and see what the hype was about. But just to see that their style in the ring matched, the type of hype they were getting, I think was really, really huge. So I think I just like the fact that the new WWE is kind of showing them in a better light now.
Very much so. The same thing we said with Jacob Fatu. When someone new comes into WWE in the past, it's always going to be sink or swim. But it's definitely felt like they made some of the newcomers after 1 or 2 weeks. Now you're a gimmick. Now you're a comedy act. Yeah. Now we're just going to throw you off to the side. Whatever. But no, they said no. You guys are going out there. The fans are reacting to you, and you're showing us week in and week out you're worthy of this push. We're going to keep on pushing you forward. Yeah. We're going to keep on pushing you forward. So I'm loving it. It's been a lot of fun. And like I said about the styles, it gives you different things to see when you're watching a match. So it's not just one particular style or just two. No, we got multiple layers of it for what all these guys can do. Once again, just showing just how great of an athlete these guys are. Yeah. Speaking of great athletes, we got a young buck taking on a wily veteran. We got Logan Paul taking on AJ Styles. Talk about this matchup.
Well, I don't even know what I'm gonna be honest. This is one of the matches I didn't know how it got together and whatnot. but I'm excited to see it. All Logan's matches is like must watch. It's crazy though, because I know a lot of people don't like Logan Paul as a person, but you can't deny the style or like the work that he puts in a ring is definitely main event. And to put him with one of, I think, the best wrestlers of all time,
absolutely, and
AJ Styles, I think it's gonna be like cinema out there, and because I call AJ Styles the modern day like Shawn Michaels, that for me, and whoever you put him in a ring with is gonna do good. So to see both of them, I think there's gonna be a lot of highlights, viral moments for sure. And
very much so. AJ Styles is one of those guys you say he can have a 5-star match with a coat hanger. Yeah. He's just that good, and he's been that way for a long time. So I'm so happy that, obviously it was years ago, so happy that he's been able to showcase for a long period on the WWE roster. Hey, I'm not just good as a big fish in a small pond. Yeah. I'm a big fish in the big pond up here as well. But you're right. Logan has adopted to WWE so well.
Perfectly, yeah.
Microphone skills, he knows how to work the crowd. Yeah. Look, some of the veterans need to take some notes from how he responds to the crowd. He knows how to work the crowd. He knows how to push your buttons so damn well. But then when he gets in the ring, you might think, why is he in there with Roman Reigns, the tribal chief? Why is he in this particular match? Why is he in this? And the next thing you know, he's like, oh, wait a minute, hold up. I wasn't expecting that. Yeah. So he's adapted fairly well. I would say the one thing I do not like, just one, They make it seem like when he boxed, like when he throws the right hand, they make it seem like he was his brother Jake knocking people out. He ain't knocking people out like that, but they make it seem like when he hit you with the right hand, he's the Big Show. Bow, knocking everyone out. That's the only critique. Otherwise, I'm not gonna lie, I actually kind of enjoy watching him in there.
He reminds me so much of when Kurt Angle came into the
WWE. Ooh, that's a good one.
Learned real quick and like had the mic skills, knew how to work the crowd, and knew how to get down in the ring.
That's
and
a good one.
Just, especially in the locker room right now where there's so many like people trying to claw to get to the top. He's a guy that's adapted well, especially for celebrity, quote-unquote celebrity.
Yes.
To come in, I think he's the greatest celebrity, you know, and then you got Bad Bunny though as well. But I think out of all, I think he's probably the best celebrity wrestler that's ever stepped foot in the ring.
I couldn't argue against that. Yeah, Bad Bunny laid claim to that first, and I would say he's probably 1B or second behind Logan. You know, only one you could say he just hasn't had as much full time as Logan. But yeah, those two guys have shown, hey, we're fans of this and we do enjoy doing it. And Logan saying, hey, I'm committed to doing this. I'm here full time. I'm knocking it out. What I've enjoyed as well is, and it's just from the little bit that I know, maybe you've heard differently. You're not hearing all the backstage drama from him and his pushes that maybe you would hear in the past. He's got a lot of heat on him. He rubbing people the wrong way. I haven't really heard that. Even when he's had wrestlers or even Triple H and Stephanie on his podcast, he comes off as legit. Like, listen, I'm learning along the way. I want to, like, he comes off completely different how he does on TV. And I do like that because it does show he's taking it seriously, and it shows when he's out there in the ring just how good he is. I wonder what they're going to do to try to steal the show. You know, like you said,
we'll see,
viral moments. You know, Logan always does something freakishly athletic with AJ Styles. They're going to try to do something. I don't know what it is, but they're going to try to do something to make you say, holy shit, WrestleMania moment, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of fun is going to be this one as well. It is a fatal 4-way matchup. You got Finn Balor. You got Dominic Mysterio, Dirty Dom. You got Penta, Zero, Mero, No Fear, taking on the big dog, Braun Breaker. They are going after the Intercontinental Championship. What are your thoughts on these four men going at it for the title?
I think this is gonna be the one that steals the show. And to have a fatal, it's been a while since we had a fatal 4-way, but you got four guys that could go at it, and then Penta's gonna be, this is first WrestleMania.
Yes,
Finn's in there, Dominic's in there. I think it's gonna be a fun one to watch. And honestly, man, I would love to see like Dominic come out of that one. I don't know why, but just to see him run away with the title some way, somehow. I don't know. Maybe the Judgment Day helps him out, and then like Finn just goes his own way type of thing. I don't know.
No. Listen, that is not it, because I've heard people say that. Say, I could see Dirty Dom being the one walking out of this, doing some type of slick move. Maybe everyone hits the finish on one particular wrestler, and then Dom comes in at the end, frog splash, wins it, walks away. It feels like at some point it's inevitable that Finn Balor is no longer going to be in the Judgment Day.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Now, does that mean because there's somebody new coming in from the darkness, coming in from the black?
Oh, yeah. Alistair, man.
I don't know if you can't see it on that side, but I'm winking, winking with the eye here. But no, is that a possibility? Or is somebody going to come in and bring order and get those guys to be on the same page again because they don't have any titles? But where do you go? Do you want Braun Breaker to continue his run? But at some point, he's doing so good, he's got to move on. Penta's been killing it since he's come in.
Yeah, Penta seems like the favorite to me.
But go ahead.
Yeah, no, he seems like the favorite to me. But I don't know. I think this is one that's going to be a great match, but also it's going to be a surprise winner to it.
And that's what I was going to say is sometimes they're going to do the shuffle. Oh, everyone thinks this person's going to win, right?
Yeah.
Bam, the next person wins. We're going to set them up. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this all goes. When I talk about stipulations, real quick, when I thought about the Braun Breaker beef a couple weeks ago, I thought a ladder match.
I thought so. The same
would have been good. You add in Pete Dunne, you add in Sheamus, you add in Ludwig. I thought what they were doing for a couple of weeks, having all those guys kind of battle for the IC title, because they're not going to put Money in the Bank back at WrestleMania, which I wish they did, because that was perfect. Yeah. To me, I think if you have Money in the Bank back at WrestleMania, that is a perfect replacement for the Undertaker Street match. That's one of those where you could build that up as that's another key matchup to watch, and that's yearly going to be on WrestleMania to cover up for it. But this one right here is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We got this matchup here. Charlotte Flair, the Royal Rumble winner of 2025, challenging Tiffany Stratton. Tiffy time for the Women's Championship. I mean, we got 2 Royal Rumble winners here, not main eventing WrestleMania. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's because there's so much like you said, like the matches that are gonna be main eventing, they got high profile like names to it.
Yes.
Of course, we'll probably talk about John and Cody.
Mm-hmm.
That has to be a main event.
Has to be.
Because it's for the title, and then also John Cena's last year. But then also you got Roman, CM Punk, and Seth. Those are 3 names that, I mean, they didn't have to main event, and you know,
yeah.
But I think understandably so why they're main eventing. I think that's why there's just bigger names on the card there.
I think it's one of those where, like Triple H said, we're going with what's hot right now.
Oh, for sure.
Whatever the fans are responding to, that's what we're going to go with. And like you said, when you get 3 of the biggest names in the sport, how do the fans not automatically respond to that right away? Especially with their theme songs, their entrances, their promo work, and what they could do in the ring. But what are your thoughts on Flair Stratton? It got a little personal last week on SmackDown between these two, which I like. Yeah. I like when they decide to do it, because then there's really emotion behind it. There's we got tension between each other. Because if I'm being honest, of all the matches on here, Oos, I kind of feel like this one's had the least excitement for its build.
I was gonna say that too. I mean, it's definitely a dream match. Because,
yes,
you know, Tiffany, that's her role model and stuff like that. And it's a match that you would love to see. And this is one of those matches, like I said, the build up. I don't even think the build up was all there, or even the promo was all there. I know this last one was pretty crazy, but it's one of those matches. Charlotte always seems to do that, you know, where her lead up to WrestleMania is not always strong, but once you get there to the show,
oh man,
all she puts on the show. That's all she does is put on bangers.
That's all she's known for. And I know people sometimes can get a little tired that it seems like she's always in the main event picture. Yeah. But it's almost like, well, what else is she really going to do? Because like you said, every time she's in the ring, she delivers. Yeah. She delivers, and she is phenomenal. Mic work isn't all that good, but it is what it is. But when she came back and won, it just felt like, oh, God, here we go again. And you're right. This matchup seemed like, oh, this is going to be fun. But again, I think it was the same thing with the Gunther and Jey Uso one. Just too much time between the Royal Rumble, Mania, where it just felt like, okay, we got too much time here. How do we really keep the interest going with everything else going on in this card as well? How somebody's going to fall short, unfortunately, just haven't been in this title fight. But I think it's going to be a good one. For Tiffany, she has shown in a short period of time, both on NXT and here on the main roster, hey, I'm that girl. Yeah. Okay, I can adapt very well, and with a little bit of tension between them now, or the massive tension between them now, I think it's going to add another layer to them. I wouldn't mind if these two, for a little bit, kind of did a shoot match on each other and just said, hey, let's go blow for blow, and let's see who's going to be the last woman standing in this particular matchup. Yeah. Speaking of the last woman standing in the matchup, a triple threat matchup. It's been a funky delivery.
For sure.
But somehow, I'm still excited. Io Sky, we putting her title on the line against Bianca Belair, who won Elimination Chamber. And then, look, we love Rhea Ripley. Hey, mommy.
She did not need to be in this match.
That's what I'm saying. Like, hold up, man. Hold up. She just walked up and said, hey, I want a match. Got it. What are your thoughts?
Man, I love Rhea, though. Definitely one of my favorite female wrestlers right now. And I know the hype behind her, and I know she's a championship type wrestler too, but I think this year would have been a year where she could have done something else, I think. But to put her in there just cause, and I know she's been going out there demanding it because she felt like she got screwed over or whatnot. I just feel like it should have been Io and Bianca. And then now, up until now, but the lead up to this and the back and forth with Bianca and Rhea, you know, and making Io seem like she's not a big deal.
We're not even worried about you.
Yeah, just pushing her. I don't see no way and where Io doesn't walk out the champion. She has to walk out the champion just to make her seem legitimate. If it doesn't, then she just seems like a champion that
like a handover.
Yeah.
We'll just give you this to the next one, but you know, I'm with you.
So I think it's gonna be a great match. I think, for sure. You got three of the top women in WWE right now. Like you said, I just think the build up and even putting the whole match together, those three together, was kind of like shaky.
Yeah, Rhea being mad at Bianca for cheering on Io, it just seemed to be like That's the way you guys went. Like he could have been. I felt like he could have been something else to make it where okay, this is legit thing right here. As opposed to you're mad that she's smiling while you're in a match with this girl. I just feel like that was a bit too much in that one. But every time that they've gotten physical, these three ladies, we've seen Io go out there and show them, oh, y'all can push me to the side if you want to. I'm gonna chop y'all down. So I'm with you. I feel like even though this has been a build up, and these two, Bianca and Rhea Ripley, might be a dream match for WrestleMania one day. Io should probably be the one to walk away with it just to cement. Sure. Hey, I may not be as tall as them, but I'm just as much of a badass as all these girls as the rest of them. So,
because I think like the Raw or SmackDown, where Io won, like
Raw.
It was a Raw. It was a Raw, like a random Raw. I mean, we knew that it was a championship match.
Yeah,
I thought Rio was gonna walk out of there. You know,
I think we all did.
But I like the way they pulled the rug under us and they surprised us with that win with Io. So that's why I feel like they should just stuck with their guns and then move forward with that. But them adding Rhea back into it kind of feels like, oh, okay, like let's fix what maybe people want to see this or whatnot.
She's too big of a star not to have on there
for sure.
But you are right. It either could have been involved in something else just for the sake of for this one show, you just need to be over here because it's not, or we really need to find a legitimate way, a better way to present why you should be in this particular matchup, as opposed to you just wanted it and complained about it, so we're going to give it to you. I do like, well, I'm going to get to the European tour afterwards and whatnot, but I do like some of the things Bianca kind of said, like, so she just gets to say, I want to be in the match, and you're giving it to her? Like, really? Okay. But nonetheless, I do think this is going to be one of the bangers right here. I think this is a potential match of the night type feel between these three, because like you said, they're so phenomenal, and their styles make fights, styles make matches. I think all three of them put together, we could be in for some magic here. Yeah. Speaking of magic, Goose, we are going to see the last WrestleMania for one of the all-time greats. Say what you will about this man, but you cannot deny year in and year out, month after month, week after week, day after day, during his time, nobody delivered like the one we all struggle to see. John Cena going for a record 17 world titles, taking on the American Nightmare, the new face that runs the place, Cody Rhodes, main event, WrestleMania 41. Rhodes, Cena, Uso, who you got?
Man, it's got to be John, man.
You think so?
I think it's going to be John. It's because, like, I think, I mean, there's a lot of people saying that Cody could probably walk out champion, but I think it's John. And I seen this fun little theory of, like, where The Rock plays in all of this, because I think that's one big question after the whole thing that happened with Travis Scott and The Rock and John Cena turning. We haven't really seen The Rock since, right?
No, not at all.
So no sight of him, and there's questions about that. And I think this match in general is going to be magic, but just to have Cena be the heel that he is and go out there, I doubt that he's going to have a new theme now, the way he's been talking, which kind of sucks. I still feel like they're trying to sell merch. That's why they already made it.
It's too late, buddy.
It's too late. They're just going to let him run it. But I think John wins it. And with The Rock, what do you call it? Like, I think, what was his name? There's a theory that Jey Uso could be another person that sold his soul to The Rock.
Interesting.
So you think about this.
Okay, talk to me now. School me.
Like, oh, you know what? I got it on my phone, dog.
Well, while you pull that up real quick,
go ahead.
I'm with you. I would have loved to have seen if John Cena would have came out with different music. Now, he says, well, my voice on this one, your voice is on the other ones that you have as well. That would have been kind of cool, but it also leads into everybody was talking about it and warning it ahead of time. And as a heel, what do? I'm not going to give you what you want. Just like we've seen in the past, if you're a heel, you don't have any merchandise. I don't sell any t-shirts. I don't have any merch. I'm a bad guy. You shouldn't be out there representing my stuff. I've seen Chris Jericho say that before. Now with John Cena, he's like, yeah, at the same time, he's not like us. But at the same time, I'm not going to change because you guys all want me to change. So just like y'all want me to turn heel all this time and I didn't, now that I am and you want me to change my theme song, I'm going to just continue to push you in your face. I'm not doing what you want. Go ahead.
All right, so this is the theory right here. And you tell me whether it makes sense or not. So January 6th on Raw, right? Jey Uso shows up with Travis Scott, right? At Netflix.
Yeah, he does. Yep.
Yeah, he shows up with Travis Scott. Then the next day on NXT, The Rock shows up and says that he's 20 steps ahead and to enjoy the ride that he's going to put everybody on, right?
Yes.
So fast forward to February 1st in the Royal Rumble, who enters at number 20? Jey Uso.
Yes. Ooh, okay. Yep.
So Jey Uso, and the last two in there is Jey Uso and John Cena.
Mm-hmm.
So unknowingly, the fans at the time, John Cena already sold his soul and lets The Rock's cousin win the Royal Rumble. And then on February 1st, the post show for Royal Rumble,
yes,
John Cena cuts his first promo as himself eliminated. In elimination chamber without. Oh, he entered himself in the elimination chamber.
Yes,
without even qualifying.
No, just said I'm in it.
Yeah, he said, and it's what's best for business.
Oh, okay.
And then February 2nd, overnight, the internet fans turn on Jey Uso and are awful to him. You know, like he had one of the worst. I think it was the most
one of the most disliked videos on there. So I was like, "What are you guys doing?"
Yeah, and then so fast forward, The Rock asks Cody Rhodes to sell his soul, right? And then I guess he doesn't, and says John Cena turns on him, and Travis Scott is there, Jey Uso's friend or whatever.
Ooh.
And then John Cena cuts his first promo as a heel, and talks about how the fans have been awful to him, you know, over the years and whatnot. The same fans that have been awful to Jey Uso. Yep. And then The Rock held up the two when Cena lined up with him, right?
Yes.
And it's the same, you know, Jey Uso threw up the deuces.
Throw up the deuce, yeah.
And maybe The Rock wanted someone to be his champion, but what if he ends up with both of the championships? You got Jey Uso and John Cena running the whole thing.
Oh my God.
And Jey Uso becomes the heel.
And he turns on them as well.
Everybody.
You guys wanted me to be the one. And then when it was my time, you turned on me. You booed me. You said I couldn't wrestle. You said I wasn't good enough. I told y'all.
And who knows that more than John Cena? You know? The 5 moves of doom.
This is why I had him on right here. This is why I had him on dropping downs. Man, look, hold up. That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
That is phenomenal right there. Because that whole... I'm 20 steps ahead. Who answers the number 20? Little things like that. Yes. In the moment, you don't pick up on it. You just, okay, cool. And then as you're like, oh shit, are we really planting the seeds here? I think that could be something, because what's one thing that always helps a business in the world of professional wrestling? The ultimate heel. Yep. Right now, you have your heels, but you don't have but who could be that? The corporation. And what has The Rock been saying? I'm the boss.
Yep.
I run stuff here. And you're right. Now I run SmackDown with my champion. Yep. I run Raw with my champion. I run NXT with another champion. My daughter's already in charge of stuff there. Yeah. I run everything, and it goes through me. And I don't got to be there every single week. I just have to pop in every now and then, and do my whole bit. Oh, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I seen. I was like, damn, that'd be crazy. Maybe we're just giving WWE too much credit, but we'll see. I don't know.
One thing, because I've been a lifelong fan. One thing I have noticed is that when certain theories or certain thoughts are out there, it seems so good. Maybe WWE gets a whiff of it, and they don't do it for the sake of, we don't want you guys writing our stories. You know what I mean? Like we said earlier, you guys all want this guy to win it. Well, we're going to go this way. Just to keep you guys interested in the loop, throw you that shock factor. Yeah. And sometimes you hear theories that make so much sense. You're like, this is going to be a story. Take all my money. Just, I want to see it. Yeah. They're like, we can't give you that. We can't give you that because we're going to tell you when you need to cheer, when you need to do X, Y, Z. But that would be awesome. Yeah. That would be fantastic. And for Jay, man, I tell you, it's been awesome to see his rise up from the tag team to the right-hand man to now being main event Jey Uso. And like I said, just when it seems like it should be his time, everyone turns on him. Unfortunately, everyone turns the toxicity among wrestling fans. It turns on them. But when you're live and you see the stadiums, they're not booing them. Oh yeah, everyone's going into it. So it's like online hate is so toxic.
It's at an all-time high, and it's crazy because the whole lead up into this, like everybody's always taught Jey Uso, like he's selling the most merch. Mm-hmm. He's the man on the fans, right? He's the guy that everybody wants. They even wanted him to end Roman's streak. They thought that he was championship material to win the streak, but now he wins the Royal Rumble, and now the build up, they're like, nah, he's not the guy.
Hold on, because you said okay. So let's just say this. Let's say that happens to a degree. Jay wins, ends up selling out to The Rock. He's a heel. You know, is that a heel right now?
Jimmy.
No, not just Jimmy. The big dog.
Oh, yeah.
So what if Roman's like, hey, what the hell are you doing, man? And then Roman, in a way, is kind of like, that should be me at the head of the table.
Yeah.
I'm the tribal chief. Him and Jay start going at it. What if Roman wins that? And hey, who's to say next year WrestleMania in New Orleans? Hey, big dog, you just gonna take my title off my guy? Well, that's having the tribal chief take on the final boss.
Maybe
Rock, Roman, if Rock ain't doing 20 other damn movies next year, Rock Roman could be set up possibly for next year. At some point, I'm with you. At some point, we got to get that match.
Yeah.
At some point, we got to get that match. Whether Rock was injured one time, another time it just didn't go right, scheduling all that. At some point, before the Rock is just, he's always going to look phenomenal. But at some point, you're going to have your last match in your body where your body's like, hey, buddy, I'm done. Yeah. We already know Roman's got a movie coming out later this year. So at some point, he's going to be moving on. I would love to see these two. I can see that possibly being a storyline. Jay and Roman kind of intermingling with each other throughout the year, possibly leading into Roman and Rock next year going at it for the head of the table and whatnot. Oh, man.
Yeah.
That could be a lot of fun. But I love that theory right there. The Rock building his own corporation and whatnot with guys you wouldn't expect to be heels. Jey Uso and John Cena leading the way. That would be something. I love it. I love it. I want to ask you this as we're wrapping up the show here. So they just did the European tour, which obviously the overseas crowds are great. They're phenomenal. I personally think, yeah, they're great, but they're also great because they don't get to see them once every 4 years. Yeah. So clearly you're going to put everything into it. But let me ask you this. Do you think going over there before WrestleMania helped keep the hype and anticipation up there because the crowds are so into it? Or do you think maybe it hurt it because the crowds were a bigger storyline than the actual storylines themselves?
That's a good question.
Thank you.
I think it would have worked, but it just depends. Like I said earlier, I just don't think the build up in general what was as good as last year. Because I think if it was last year, it wouldn't really matter. I think it just comes down to the storylines than the crowd. The crowd is always going to hype up everything and make everything seem good. Yeah. But when you take a step back and look at it, it's like, okay, I guess we could. Where I could compare it to is last year, and
very much
just go off the storylines and every match that there is.
No, last year, it was Cody needing to finish his story. He needs to go out there, finish his story. Then you had the twins going at it. First time that the twins were going to be fighting each other at WrestleMania. So much involved in it. The Rock was coming into it. So it's things like that. This one is one of those where you say, okay, the matches are good. The build up to it, and that's why I think when they went overseas, their idea was we don't want a couple of weeks of Raw and SmackDown to be in front of the old crowds. We only go to Chicago, Philly, and New York so many times in a short period. We want the crowds to be into it. Let's put it here so the fans are into it. So when you're watching it at home, it's like, holy snap! It takes your mind off of lackluster build up. My thought would be this, and what do you think about this? I think they should make the European tour a yearly thing after WrestleMania. Like maybe a week or two afterwards, they spend some time over there because that usually is a down period in the spring, going into the summer. It can get a little dull at times, but if you're overseas with that kind of crowd, it kind of keeps you boiling over until SummerSlam comes up, then lean into the fall. What are your thoughts on that?
I could see that happening more. I think that makes more sense than right now. And maybe even the time difference kind of screws with everybody because there's a lot of people that didn't even know about the whole time difference. Because you'll be watching like, oh wait, what's on right now? What the hell? So I mean, the storylines are always going to be there, but I think, like you said, that could wait after WrestleMania. I mean, they even have like Backlash after WrestleMania, overseas, so those do well. Yeah,
very much so. Very much so. And I think it'll be, like I said, I think it'll just be one of those where it'll keep everyone engaged and involved afterwards to kind of come off that high from WrestleMania. And as you start kicking back into it, and then it jump started into everything else. Real quick, I'm just going to run down the matches. Give me who you think is going to win all of them. All right. And we'll go off there. So in no particular order, Rey Mysterio and El Americano. Jade Cargill, Naomi.
Jade Cargill.
Okay. LA Knight, Jacob Fatu. Jey Uso, Gunther.
Jey Uso. Yay.
Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, CM Punk.
Damn. I'll say Seth Rollins.
Okay. I like it. Burn it down. AJ Styles, Logan Paul.
Logan Paul.
I think you already said it before, but just for clarity, Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, Penta, Braun Breaker.
I'll go with Dom.
Dirty Dom. Okay, I love it. Tiffany Stratton, Charlotte Flair.
I'll go with Tiff.
Okay, now remember, somebody's dad's gonna be watching to make sure his record don't get broke. Kind of way to ease it over is make sure his daughter win the same night, but we'll see.
That's true.
Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair.
Io got to win.
Io got it walking away. Cody Rhodes, John Cena. First off, will Cody even know who he's facing? I don't know if he'll be able to see him during the match.
Yeah, that's true. I definitely John Cena. It's his last one. Might as well break the record and then make a whole run after that. I think they're going to start selling the pay-per-views after that, or the PLEs based off of John Cena and his availability.
And it would lead to some fantastic matchups with some of his best rivalries. Obviously, at some point, we got to see Cena versus CM Punk.
Yeah.
At some point, we got to see Cena versus Randy Orton.
For sure.
At some point. So, and a couple other matchups as well, but there's definitely some on there you say, we got to get to these. I'm with you. I'm going to go with John Cena. I'm going to go with Io Sky. I'm going to go with Charlotte Flair. I'm going to go with Penta. I'm going to go with AJ Styles. I'm going to go with Rey Mysterio, Jade Cargill, Jacob, Jey Uso, and me. I'm gonna go with CM Punk. I think it's his first one. I like the Seth Rollins one. I just think somehow Punk is gonna find a way to get himself in there. Maybe do one of those when you just said Roman with the curve stop. I mean, he'll go to sleep. Now I get the pin, main event, and I won. It's gonna be a good one.
Yeah, that'll be dope.
Oos, I can't thank you enough for coming on for the show. Yeah. It's been great. It's been a lot of fun. Hopefully we get to do it again going forward and whatnot. We'll be seeing each other at WrestleMania and whatnot. Yeah. So, hey, if I come off the top rope with the Hurricane Rana or you chop me in the chest, either way, we about to have a lot of fun, man. So thank you so much for coming on.
Man. Hell yeah.
Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of The Main Event right here on Franchise Wars Media. It is a special WrestleMania 41 edition. Be sure to tune in live for the granddaddy of the mall. Franchise Wars Media will be there. This is TJ, the Samoan Raider, your host, Klein Lil. Till next time, fight fans. Peace.